Qantas fires 2,000 baggage handlers. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.heise here and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee. Looks like Qantas have culled 2,000 baggage handling jobs as part of an operational overhaul. Qantas has confirmed thousands of staff will lose their jobs after a cost-cutting decision to outsource the majority of its ground handling operations. I can't say this is any surprise for those of us that have been following the news. You know, the airlines are doing it tough everywhere. Qantas has confirmed thousands of ground staff will lose their jobs after a cost-cutting decision to outsource the majority of its ground handling operations. The embattled airline has revealed 2,000 jobs will be axed across 10 Australian airports as part of its operational overhaul to ensure the flying kangaroo can remain in the skies beyond the pandemic. Qantas's decision comes after months of operational reviews that began in August to reduce the size of the business following subdued travel numbers due to the health crisis. Monday's announcement brings the total job losses at Qantas to about 8,500 of its 29,000 pre-pandemic workforce. The aviation industry has been financially obliterated by the pandemic, by the lockdowns imposed to mitigate the spread of the pandemic, with the health crisis causing Qantas to report a $2.7 billion statutory loss for the 2020 financial year. And we've got our own family members that work at the international airport that, job's gone, pretty much. The airports impacted, including international and domestic operations at Melbourne, Sydney and Brisbane. Ground services at Perth, Adelaide, Canberra, Cairns, Darwin, Townsville and Alice Springs have also been cut. Qantas Chief Executive of Domestic and International Operations, Andrew David, said the industry had been turned upside down and it would take years to recoup the financial damage inflicted by the global shutdown. This is another tough day for Qantas, particularly for our ground handling teams and their families, Mr. David said. Unfortunately, COVID has turned aviation upside down. Airlines around the world are having to make dramatic decisions in order to survive, and the damage will take years to repair. The Premier airline said impacted staff would be entitled to redundancy packages, and it would help workers find jobs outside of the company. It is expected the outsourcing of ground handling operations will reduce costs by $100 million annually and avoid large spending on ground handling equipment. So here's the question: why are others able to do the ground handling more efficiently than Qantas, more cost effectively? Probably because they're competing for multiple contracts, one would assume, from different airlines rather than one airline having it themselves. I'd guess you'd probably get efficiencies there. The Transport Workers Union said the outsourcing of ground handling staff was a dark day for the industry, with more families across Australia facing grim prospects of joining the Centrelink queue. Qantas had said spent hundreds of millions in training these workers up over decades to achieve high standards, and the idea of pushing them out the door to replace them with less trained workers on lower conditions is sickening, the TWU National Secretary said. Well, that's the reality of business, guys. This is what's happening. We're in a recession. Some people pretend to think the recession is over, but, the damage to the economy was done. And now we're going to start seeing the repercussions of it over the next couple of years, To suggest this bid and its cost savings was theoretical is an absolute insult to the time and effort which has been put in by workers. The TWU has also taken aim at the millions of dollars paid to senior executives during the pandemic. In financial year 2019, Qantas Chief Executive Alan Joyce received a $24 million pay package, making him the highest paid CEO in Australia and the highest paid airline boss in the world. Well, it's a good gig if you can get it, guys. Since the beginning of the pandemic, Qantas has taken on an additional $1.5 billion in debt in order to keep the business afloat. Mr. Joyce and other senior executives did take significant pay reductions following the onset of the pandemic in March. Well, it's good at least mentioning that. But, this is the thing. The unions seem to only make the jealousy argument. I'm just seeing that over and over again. They're making the jealousy argument. What's the point in keeping the people employed if the business is going to disappear? It's happened many times, sadly. But hopefully the people will have enough skills that they could jump through to some of these contractors. Mr. Joyce and other senior executive, yep, we've already read that. While there has been some good news recently with domestic borders, international travel isn't expected to return to pre-COVID levels until at least 2024, Mr. David said. We have a massive job ahead of us to repay debt, and we know our competitors are aggressively cutting costs to emerge leaner. Qantas confirmed the outsourced services will be comprised of operators including Swissport, DNATA, Menzies and Star Aviation. The TWU has submitted bids on behalf of ground handling staff for operations to stay with Qantas. However, it was unsuccessful and did not meet the airline's requirements. Mr. David said Qantas had made 3 separate extensions for the TWU, but the union failed to outline sufficient practical detail. Even with the involvement of large accounting firm, the bid falls well short of what the specialist external providers were able to come up with, he said. The TWU said outsourcing specialist ground handlers were unsafe and the bid process was a sham. He also claimed outsourcing would lower wages and work conditions, and Qantas was rorting the federal government's JobKeeper wage subsidy scheme. Qantas refutes the claims. If the workers got the JobKeeper, they got the JobKeeper. That's what it is. It's only a temporary measure. This is a thing. JobKeeper only covers a portion of the costs for keeping the staff on. It would be smarter. It would have been smarter for Qantas just to sack all these people and not manage the JobKeeper, because that time period that they've had them on JobKeeper, they're getting extra holiday pay and they're getting extra entitlements and their redundancy and long service leave. That's all accruing more. People seem to not realize that. You know, that's what it is. It is a big cost having someone on board, guys. So let's jump and have a look at the Qantas share price. It's sitting now at $5.38, and what we'll do is we'll jump out to 6 months. So it's climbed back up since July. Let's go to 1 year. So at the beginning of the year it was $6.30, and it crashed in March like everything did to $2.14, and it's now climbed right back up to $5.38. Dividend yield of 4.91. The previous close was $5.52. The 52-week high was $7.46. And the 52-week low was $2.03. So you'd be happy if you bought it at the low and just sat on it for that time. We'll have to see. And here, this is from Qantas. This is in euros. What am I? I'm looking at what? Okay, I'm at Trading Views, and is it traded on? Okay, well, no, we won't look at that. I don't know why that's coming up in euros. Maybe it's traded over on the another stock exchange. Market close, the German stock exchange. I didn't know. Was it traded on there? We'll have to see. Anyway, guys, there we have it. Qantas are cutting 2,000 staff. It's a sad day for those people, although, you know, you would hope that they have prepared themselves for this eventuality if you're in the airline industry. Chances are you may not have your job back. It's pretty high. So you've got to look at other options and prepare and plan now. If you're getting a JobKeeper, if you're getting other payment now, use this as an opportunity to upskill, learn something new, get other relationships, start, network where you can, do something just in case, because it can't hurt to be prepared, and cut your costs to the bone, just in case. As always, guys, let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and want to support the content I create here, there are a few ways you can. You can join us on YouTube or Patreon. You can support us using our affiliate links at Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or Kucoin. You can buy our merch from HeiseSays or Teespring. You can use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, PayPal, or support us using AussieBroadband. Take care, everyone. Have a great day, and I will see you all in the next episode.